can hear the crowd chanting MVP. That's my mantra. Here's a standing O for the opinionated bench warmers.
What's good, y'all? Rob from the Opinionated Benchwarmer. Just recapping the previous round, first round with the Lakers versus the Houston Rockets, as well as getting into what we got ourselves into facing the OKC Thunder. I did a couple videos before on social media, so make sure you locked in O_Benchwarmers. Also, check out my uploads on YouTube. That's how you can find the content that you're finding right now with the Lakers. I promise to keep it going as far as following the Lakers throughout the entire playoffs. Win is win, lose, draw. If you love the Lakers just as much as I do, you'll find this content is for you. Make sure that this is interactive. Leave a comment. Let me know how you feel about the Lakers going forward in the playoffs. Here we are. The Lakers coming off of our Rockets first round. It was a little tougher than where we made it. We went up 3-0, and then we ran into some difficulty in game 4 and 5 and was able to wrap it up in Houston in game 6. It wasn't much of a game. Actually ended in a blowout on the Lakers' end of things. But obviously, it's a lot that went on. In my previous videos, I talked about it, and we'll get through it today. So, number one, how did the Lakers look in that first round? Number two, what in the heck do we have to do against the OKC Thunder to pull off this, what seems to be a miracle according to the sports books, and beating OKC in this second round? I got the answer. And lastly, what do I think and how I think this series is going to go? So let's jump into it. Like I said, my prediction on the previous series was to go to game 7. I missed the ball. I was a little off base in Luka's injury reports. But it's like I said, and it was with Kevin Durant. In the playoffs, teams are a little less forthcoming about the severity of injuries with players, especially superstars. We saw with Kevin Durant. We didn't expect Kevin Durant to miss the rest of the series when it was reported, or missed the series when it was reported that he injured himself in practice. But here we go. He didn't finish it out. And I think that's the same thing that happened with Luka. We didn't know what Luka was going to do. We didn't know the severity of the injury. We didn't know any of that. And now here we are. It's reported that Luka could very well miss the entire second round, which doesn't bode well for my prediction, which doesn't bode well for Lakers fans. I don't want to hear it. I know you didn't want to hear it, but the reality of it is, biases aside, we really can't expect LeBron at 41 years old and the team and how it's constructed to pull this off against probably one of the better teams in the last couple of years in OKC Thunder, in a loaded team. And I'll get to my prediction. I'll explain why in the matchups as well. But when you look at the first round, it told you a lot about this team. And I don't think that this team, you saw our weaknesses. And one of them being, I know Austin Reeves didn't come back until game 5, so he played game 5 and 6. But if you look through game 1 through 4, Luke Kennard, Marcus Smart had the first 2 games were phenomenal. They gave us what we needed alongside LeBron, which I predicted. I predicted that we would need big games from them in order to supplement what LeBron could do. And at times, and if you would have noticed, specifically, I think it was game 3 where LeBron had 10 points. LeBron looked very 41-year-oldish, and he should. The first 2 games, he dropped 20 plus, and he gave us all on both sides of the floor. And then you saw once he got a couple games rest that he was able to, in game 6 in that closeout game, was able to show us what energy he can have when he's had a couple of days or days of rest, which rightfully so at 41 years old. But we need we're going to have consistent performances by Luke Kennard and Marcus Smart. They're just so important. Marcus Smart gives us things as far as charges, leadership, communication, and defense, things that don't show up on the damn stat sheet, but it's so important. And his playmaking ability is not talked about enough. And then DeAndre Ayton, I want to point him out because I feel like if you're going to criticize him, I've been critical of him all year. You have to give him his flowers. I thought that he had a great series and rebounding. I thought in game 6, he was very engaged. He was fighting for position in the post. He was playing good defense on Sengun. It was a series that it wasn't pretty. I would have loved for the Lakers to go ahead and sweep them, despite my original prediction being that we win in 7, but it didn't happen. And I think that you could clearly see the inconsistencies when you're having to rely on the role players. And I look at Rui too, shooting 50% from 3 in that series with Houston. We're going to need his shooting again in this series, and we're going to need much more. But Austin Reeves, I think when you saw him and just recapping game 5 and 6, he meant a lot. And despite his scoring not being there, he did look rusty, which would be understandable being out of the game for about a month. But I do think that when you look at how he played in the game, I think that once he gets his timing together and once he continue to play more games, he will get better. But I'm going to say it, we're going to need 30 points from him tonight for us to have a shot at beating OKC. We're going to need that consistent offense. We're going to need that threat of offense. Now, the lack of thereof or the average thereof defense, we understand that, but that's up to JJ to strategize on what we're going to put Austin Reeves to hide him, because I expect OKC to put him in a lot of screens and a lot of switches to get a matchup, which I preferably would not like on SGA, and SGA just have a field day. But overall, it was nice to see the Lakers win round 1 without Luka, and for the most part without Austin Reeves, which we made him come back in game 5, and he was able to contribute in a minor way in games 5 and 6. As a Los Angeles Lakers fan, that's all you can ask for. We know that this is a flawed roster, but we're not going to make any excuses. So let's talk about this upcoming matchup with the OKC Thunder, round 2, starting on Tuesday night in Oklahoma City. Now, when you look at OKC in general, all right, I'm going to get what's obvious out the way. All the Lakers haters, we get this. We get that the Thunder beat us in a combination of 79 points in the last 2 matchups. I'm still trying to get that embarrassment out of my mind. It was nuts. They beat us like a drum. They beat the hell out of us. I don't know if you ever got a whooping by your grandmother when she pulled that switch off of the tree. That's what they did to us in the last matchup, beating us by, I believe, 43 points. And this was a game where it was probably one of the more sad games as a Lakers fan. I've been at this for a while, but it takes me back into the early 2000s in our battles with the Celtics, the Big Three, the original Big Three with Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Pierce. And just how some games we just did not have it. They would just beat us like a drum. That's what those matchups remind me of with the OKC Thunder. In every which way, I'm going to talk about matchups in a moment, but every which way, they pretty much have us beat as far as a matchup wise. They do have, and then the game, and then the nightmare of the game. Let me go back to that real quick. I'm getting ahead of myself. But the fact how we lost it, Luka has not played since that game and has been out, had the hamstring injury, and he's still trying to work his way back. We lost Austin Reeves as well. We lost 2 of our best players on top to add insult of injury, but besides of getting our ass kicked. And it was just one of those games where it took me back to those Boston Celtics matchups in the playoffs when we used to get beat bad. And the game, I think it's pretty simple what OKC wants to do. They want to use their youth and athleticism. A lot of when the Rockets did have success against us, that's what they did. They want to run us out the gym and keep the pace up. They have SGA, which is probably going to win the MVP, the league MVP again this year. And we know he likes to score, and we know that they like to scheme and set a bunch of actions to get the right matchup. If Luke Kennard's out there, he's going to be targeted defensively. If Austin Reeves out there, he's going to be targeted defensively. It's just a matchup that it's not a really favorable matchup for us. But I'm going to talk about the pathway that I think we could have success to make this interesting. And we're going to have to take it game by game, all right? But honestly, this is a lot for the Lakers, for my Lakers to This is going to be a challenge, and we're going to need Luke Kennard. We're going to need him for the first part of the series. We're going to need that performance every night. But again, and I say this all the time with different teams, they're role players for a reason. Role players are inconsistent in what they bring. Luke Kennard, the only thing that's consistent about him, which he's paid for, is that he's a phenomenal free throw 3-point shooter. And he's going to give you that. If he's open, he's going to knock it down. He's consistently shooting in the upper 40% in 3-point percentages, one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. He's going to give you that. But as far as an overall performance and the playmaking ability, the creating the shot for himself, he'll give you that every other night. That's a role player. Then you have your stars who can give you one side of the floor consistently. And at this point of the game, LeBron is a legend, but I would say he's a star. That's amazing to even say it as a 41-year-old. He's a star, giving him his flowers. He's gonna give you multiple things at a high level, but he's gonna give you that one thing that he's good at, and that's what he's gonna do for the game. For instance, in the last game, he's gonna give you certain spots in defense. But I think in the last game, you could see his aggressiveness in making sure that he scored, because Austin Reeves is still, as our motor, and I'll get to him in a moment, he's working his way back and getting into the rhythm of an NBA game and getting used to the intensity of playoff basketball after being out of basketball for almost a month. But we're gonna need star performances from Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, DeAndre Ayton, and Rui. Rui shot 50% this past series. We're gonna need that again. He's gonna have to knock down all his open shots. He's been a phenomenal 3-point shooter. I think it's actually a career year for him in 3-point shooting percentage. We're gonna need all of that if we expect to overcome the challenges that come with facing a team that is as deep as OKC. When you got the Lou Dort, you got the Casey Williams. I'm naming these role players that they have. The only thing we have working with us, I believe, I don't know if Williams is going to play, Jalen Williams is going to play. That would be a plus if he's not, but I honestly feel like it doesn't matter because of how deep this team is and how good they are defensively. So we'll see how that goes. Now the pathway, and like I said, I know y'all interested to see this, and I know if you're not a Laker fan and you're a Laker hater, you want to hear about how I'm going to formulate my opinion about what I think the pathway is for the Lakers to win this series. I already said it. It's gonna be Austin Reeves, and I think that's the obvious X factor here. I truly believe that he's gonna have to average 30 points in this series in order for us to win this series or have even a shot. We're gonna need that consistently, along with what LeBron brings as far as a playmaking ability and his leadership and his scoring. And we're gonna need Luke Kennard to come with it, like he did in the first two games of the last series with Houston. And DeAndre Ayton is going to have to be a beast on the board. He's going to have to be a force in defending the cup. He's definitely going to have the rebounding performances that he had at times in his last Houston Rockets series. He's going to need all of that in order for us to win. That's the pathway. But like I said, if we expect to win this series, we're going to have to hope and pray that maybe Luka's injury, maybe the information we're getting is not true. Maybe. I'm trying to fix it. I don't know. They're saying that it's severe. He hasn't started running yet, Luka. But if Luka comes in, it could get interesting. But I would be lying to you if I didn't have the two losses that we had earlier this month. I'm sorry, it's May now, in April, in the beginning of April, losing by 79 combined points in two matchups a week apart. That does concern me. I would be lying if I said it didn't, and that was with Luka. So I don't know, but I know that Luka gives us a best shot when you got somebody that was the scoring title winner this NBA season in Luka Doncic. So obviously we're going to need that, but this is a deep team. When you think about Caruso as well on the Thunder, it's just a really good team, and they're the best in the league for a reason. And I think what SGA brings to the team is just phenomenal. And it's going to be a tough hill for us to climb. But game one is Tuesday night. I'll be here for it the whole time. And we'll see what happens. Lastly, I'll leave you with my prediction in this series. I'm going to say it. I might get a lot of slack for it. I'm gonna say if Luka comes back, finds a way, if a miracle comes and Luka comes back, I could see maybe us winning in 7, but that's the only way. We will need a lot of help on OKC's side. I honestly think we would need a lot of injuries. It's going to be a tough hill to climb, just with the matchups. And I'm looking forward to pointing out throughout this series what I see and what the Lakers could improve. But it's going to be a tough hill to climb. You're going to need vintage LeBron as well in the missing piece. But tax 41-year-old to lead this plight, I think a lot's going to land on Austin Reeves. But that's my prediction. Man, again, you can find me on O_benchwarmers on Instagram, Twitter, also X, whatever it's called these days. Lock in with me there. YouTube as well. Just search Opinionated Benchwarmers. Subscribe, like it, leave a comment. These are all the things that can help me out. But I appreciate you, and I'm here. I'm a Lakers fan, man. Let's go. Lakers second round, OKC, game 1. I'm excited. Till next time out.